See if I can get this thing out. Hey, everybody. Just want to let you know that not all views and opinions shared on the Painted Black podcast are those of its host and creators. We do not condone any acts of violence or hate speech. Our show is for commentary purposes and the education of its creators. Thanks for listening, guys. Let's start the show.
And it's opinionated. Oh, but you already said that you had the look made for the face made for radio.
I do. I got a forehead made for honestly traffic.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man.
Oh,
They said traffic. Damn.
Welcome again to the Painted Black podcast. I'm Zach, as always, here hanging out with my boy Bo.
Yep.
And that's the way we're starting. Scratch all that. We got to do it again.
Well,
Did you say yerp?
Exactly. That's what
Yerp.
I said it on the first episode.
You realize I edit these things down, right?
And I said it on, and you had it on the first episode.
Brian never heard you say yerp in my whole.
Dude,
I've never heard anyone
go
say
back,
yerp.
Go back to the first episode and listen to it. Right when you said it was the Painted Black podcast, you was Zach and this is Bo. I said Europe, just like
outside of a drunk man almost throwing up. I've never heard anyone say Europe.
Okay, so would you like me to redo that? Go ahead, redo it. I got you. No Europe.
Welcome to the Painted Black. I don't feel it anymore.
No, go ahead.
It's not genuine.
No, go ahead. Throw it out there. Go ahead, because you wanted to bring it back. So go ahead. You said we got to start over. Start over. Let's go ahead.
Scratch that record.
Let's go
Welcome back. Shit, that's not right. You're not back. No one's back.
Welcome.
You might be back. I hope you're back.
Welcome everybody. The two people that saw us last time. Welcome back to the PIB.
I don't think we can legally call it the PIB.
Painted Black.
Yeah, but there's already a Mr. PIB.
But I didn't say Mister. I just said the PIB. I said the PIB.
I feel like we're
actually
on
you
some
messed that up. I
dangerous
did.
territory.
We can't get in trouble for me saying the PIB.
Dangerous.
You can get in trouble for saying Mister.
Yes.
You messed that up.
I'm white. I can get in trouble for saying a lot of things.
So with that being
we
said,
want to go down the list.
So since you said that, let's get back into the main topic here. If that ain't the greatest segue in the world, let's go ahead.
Oh man,
Dive right on in it.
Why don't you dive right on it? What you got for me this week?
What I got for you this week?
What you got for me this week?
I don't even know, man. This week has been weird.
What do you mean weird?
It's just been weird. Stuff going on in the world. It's just weird. Everything. We're going back to the same.
I need you.
Are we going back to the same one?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's going backwards. But anyway,
hit me all with it.
Okay.
Hit me with it all.
So I was checking out this one thing about this old cat. I think he's like 70-something years old.
Yeah.
He drives buses here in North Carolina.
That's bad news.
Yeah, right off the rip, right? So he got caught. Well, the buses didn't have cameras on it. He's been driving buses for like 20-something years for the school. And the buses just got cameras on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not even a couple of days after the fact, they found him sexually assaulting 4 special need children.
Oh.
And I think it was middle school kids.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well.
And so and then the thing is he drove for more than 20 years. So that raised
there's
the whole
no
suspicion.
telling how long.
Right, because there's no cameras up there until recently. And then they caught him.
That's disgusting.
That wasn't his first time.
No.
You don't just escalate to full on molesting
No, you
children.
don't. And it was 4. It was 4 on the bus. It was 4 that he was doing it to on the bus.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Well, one, we try to open up a little bit light, but holy Christ, Bo,
that's crazy.
Starting
I
off
seen
heavy.
I seen it, and that's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, what? Like, what person would do that? That's crazy.
Was it a short bus?
It was not a short bus.
Not a short bus.
Not at all. It was a regular.
Did the crimes happen in the front of the bus or the back of the bus?
I think it was just the bus because it was all over.
I see.
Like the camera, they had like the shots that they said that they had like over 4 camera angles. And
4 camera angles.
Yeah, because there's like multiple cameras on the bus.
Last week, we talked about transgender people.
We did.
Right. In particular, a transgender swimmer transitioning from a male to a female and then competing against other swimmers, other female swimmers, right? And we didn't know how to handle this thing. I think I figured it out, Bo.
Okay.
You want to know how I figured it out?
Okay. Go ahead. Break it down for me, man.
You ready?
I'm not, but go ahead. I'm not. Go ahead.
Transgender Olympics. It's perfect. Tell me it's not perfect.
It's still funny.
It's perfect. But tell me it's not a great idea.
I mean, it would make sense. It would take the argument out the way because a lot of people, so people won't say.
They're all competing against each other. And look, we could have classes. We could have beginning stage transgender people.
Right.
We could have, halfway through.
Halfway.
And then, the full blown.
Right.
All the way done.
Like transmission.
Yeah. Nope. Nope.
No.
Can't say transmission.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it seems like a pretty easy fix to a problem that everybody's having.
Yeah.
Honestly, the problem is people are so damn sensitive. That's the problem.
No, you're right.
That's the number one reason.
If it's not affecting you personally, why do you care?
Right. Like, that's the number one thing. And then some people don't even know what it means. They just jump out the blue and they associate themselves with certain things that they don't even have the kind of information on. Then they defend it. Mm-hmm. And then everybody gets so serious about it. That's the problem, honestly. That's where it started.
People don't know how to stay in their lane anymore.
Yeah, like, you want to talk about it, but then you don't want to hear nobody else talk about it. There's fact to it. If there's fact to it, then give us the facts. Right. So that way we have a guideline to go by. So we know what we're talking about. But if there's no facts to it and stuff like that, then educate us. Tell us what's going on. Tell us how to explain it. But I'm just as lost like the next person. I know what I know, but you can't say anything without offending nobody.
I do have a legitimate question. And this has more to do with the term transgender than it does a person being transgender.
Okay, go.
So sex is what you're born as, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Gender is how you identify, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if a person is born as one sex and is changing that sex to match their gender identity, shouldn't the term then be transsexual, not transgender?
Yeah.
Isn't that a legitimate?
That makes sense. Makes a whole lot more sense. Yeah. No, I'm with you though. Like, that makes sense.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
But try explaining that to these hardcore.
I don't care what hardcore what.
I'm talking about just what you're saying. Like, bottom line is, like, when it comes to that, and then we're not a part of it, like, we're not in it. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're going to be wrong regardless. Like I said, there's so many sensitive people or whatever. Yeah. Like what we were just talking, what you just said about the whole transgender Olympics, right?
Yeah.
There's some people probably right now like, how dare you? And it was a joke. Well, what are you supposed to do?
It was funny, but it was also, if you sit and think about it, that would take care of a lot of the people that's so sensitive about things that, again, they're not educated on enough to have an opinion. And then when they do, it's just because really they feel uncomfortable.
Right.
So they want to have an opinion. But it does seem like an easy fix to what they see as a problem.
Or you could eliminate the full blown category completely out of it, right? The full blown ones can compete however they want to compete in whatever sport they want to compete in, right?
Yeah.
You can just have the beginning and the middle stage transgenders competing, just to make it all fair and even.
Yeah, because they ain't there yet. So
yeah,
they
they're
ain't there yet.
not all the way around the corner.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we. What are you laughing at?
Go ahead. Nothing. Go ahead.
Oh God.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. My bad.
What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So we came here tonight with a topic in mind. And I don't know how to transition into it. I don't know a way to ease ourselves into this thing. But what we're talking about tonight is white privilege.
Yeah, just get to it.
Now, I can tell you how my journey started with the term white privilege and what it meant to me at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And at the very beginning, when I first heard the term, and I think most white people, when they first hear the term white privilege, the first thought is that it makes it sound like that all white people grew up with some kind of privilege, that they grew up, that they have privileged lives.
So silver spoon aspect.
Yeah, so yeah. And I think everyone knows that's definitely not the case.
No. My perspective when it comes to white privilege is advances, safety nets, stuff like that. When it comes to white people opposed to any other nationality, I will say that.
Yeah.
Because it ain't just black. If you do not look white, then you're a minority. So when it comes to that, there's a lot of advantages that white people have that black people don't. For example, like a lot of white people, they don't have to worry about having the conversation about, what's going to happen when you get pulled over by a cop, right. a white cop. What's going to happen if you go into a nice area because, we don't belong over there. That's the stereotype because we come from the ghetto. We came from the hood. We come from trailers. We come from that. So we don't have that.
Yeah.
So that's what I see and I've had moments of white privilege happen to me. Actually, I said one, but I didn't say other. I was actually working on, it was actually in Wilmington, same place. I was opening this restaurant. I worked there. And me and another guy was opening. So we came there together. I went to the back, he went to the front. When he went to the front, he forgot the key, right? Mm-hmm. So he, there was two cops policing the area. They always police that area. So the cops came through and they didn't say anything. So they just kind of came in the area and just drove off. So I came around the front. And I went, and the guy told me he was going to go get the key. So he had to drive up the street and go to whatever he had to go to get the key. So I'm in the front doing nothing, literally, because I can't get in the neighbor. I can't get into the restaurant. Mm-hmm. Same two cops come over there, and they question me, asking me what was I doing. They're asking me where was I from. I don't understand where I'm from has anything to do with me sitting there waiting for the restaurant to open. Then it was cold, so I had a jacket on, and I was just sitting there, literally doing nothing. And the guy was like, "Do you belong here?" I'm like, where do I belong? Like, jeez, where am I supposed to be? I literally told the guy that. I wasn't trying to be funny, but that was a stupid ass question to ask me.
Yeah.
Apparently I work here. I had the shirt on and everything. I just had a jacket on because it was cold. It was like 20 degrees out there.
Right.
So he's like, where are you from? Are you supposed to be here? And I told him nicely because that's another thing with white privilege. We, as a black community, we have to button up our words. We have to button up our demeanor. We have to talk a certain way. We have to address people a certain way. Right. Because if we talk like white people, they can talk natural. And they can tell, I seen a lady cuss out a cop and nothing happened. White lady, cuss them out. Like they're effing this. They're just that and the third over nothing. Like they'll get mad because they got pulled over. Mm. Let us do that. And nowadays, we're getting shot.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting beat. We're getting arrested. There's people out there that plays tricks to make you do things. And then sometimes you don't even do anything. Like, they'll come and brush on you, like touch you. And they'll say, oh, that's assault. You got to go. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we have to do that. We have to button all that up. We can't just talk regular. We can't have a regular conversation. We have to try. And there's a thing in the there's a thing in our culture that's called you got to try to be white in certain situations. When you get pulled over, you got to act white.
Gotcha.
You got to act white. And you got to act this way. You got to act that way.
What does that mean, acting white?
Acting white, like we talk different. Like, there's some people, like, you can't help where you're from. There's some people that's from the ghetto, so that all they know is slang. Mm-hmm. It's not disrespect. It's just that's the way they talk.
Right.
Like that's like saying if a foreign person come from overseas, they don't know English, so they get pulled over. You're going to get mad because they don't know English?
I mean, I've seen a lot of people get mad because they don't know English.
But I'm saying in that situation, what's the difference? If I'm raised a certain way around a certain group of people, mm-hmm. and it's all over the world, like even in the States, like people down here in the South do not talk like people up north.
Yeah.
People up north don't talk like people in the Midwest.
Right.
And stuff like that. Louisiana got their own culture. You ever heard of like a Louisiana, you get what I'm saying? Bayou people, they got their own culture. So the way they talk ain't the way that, or it's not the way that we talk here in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So acting white, you got to kind of like, because white have, okay, here's the thing. White goes down to the color. White is what? It's clean. It's pure, mm-hmm. right? So that's what they.
Thank you, by the way.
Stupid. White is clean. White is pure, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk white, that's what you give off. It's clean. It's pure. It's not dirty. It's everything that you want. It's nice, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. So when you get in those situations, you have to act white, because if you act any other way, then you're a hoodlum. You're causing trouble and stuff like that. You know, when black people get pulled over, the number one thing that we do is make sure they see our hand.
Right.
And that's crazy. White people get pulled over. You know what do you have to worry about seeing your hands? No, not at all. The number one thing you worry about is what? Getting your license or registration, right?
Yeah, and it's never even a thought about reaching over and grabbing it.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
Because you're not worried about that. The number one thing you're worried about is, why did you pull me over? And let me get my license registration so we can go and get this over, right?
Right.
No, not with us. In the past years and stuff like that, with everything, you know, especially with the George Floyd thing, you know what I mean? Everybody, and that's another thing too. I'm glad I have the platform to say this too. Everybody got mad about the whole George Floyd thing mm-hmm. because of his past. That has nothing to do with what those police officers did to him at that moment.
No, absolutely.
All I keep hearing, I don't care if he was a pimp and he had 30 hoes. That ain't got nothing to do with how those policemen treated him at that moment.
Right.
That is ridiculous. Like that one guy that was over that I forgot his name. I will do my research. The guy that he was reaching for a cigarette mm-hmm. and they thought he had a gun.
Yeah.
And they choked him out till he died.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Absolutely.
That makes no sense to me. So with the George Floyd thing, Mike, I'm all for it. Like, police got to do their job.
Yeah.
But do just that. Do your job, whether black or white. That thing that just happened with that kid in Memphis, mm-hmm. it was all black people. It was all black people, black police that did that to that kid, and the kid was black. There's no difference. That kid he didn't deserve that.
Now, what that brings up a good point, because man, is the right, I feel like, would jump all over something like that and say the problem isn't cops. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't need to defund the police. We don't need all this other kind of bullshit. But because that was black people doing things to a black kid.
Right.
How do you I don't even know how to phrase this question.
How do I defend the fact that it was a black person?
Well, not necessarily.
Well, not defend it.
Yeah.
Like separate it?
Yeah.
Because, okay, this is how I was separated. Now, this is my opinion, so I don't want people to think that, okay, I know everything, but this is my opinion. How do you separate that? Right off the rip, how many times have you seen black cops doing that on a regular basis?
Right.
Videotaped.
Oh, I mean, that's...
To anybody.
It's...
Right?
Well, not a dime a dozen, but you know what I mean? Like...
Right.
1 in a million.
It's to the point now that white people literally had to protect themselves, and they put cams in their vests mm-hmm. because they want to show people, hey, I'm a nice cop. That don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Once you take that vest off, you still evil-minded.
Yeah.
There's people that do their damage politically, mm-hmm. verbally, and it doesn't have to straight be physical. But how I differentiate both of that is because what happened with those black guys that did it to that kid? What happened?
To be honest with you,
they all got fired.
They all got fired almost immediately too.
It was like a couple of days after the fact.
Okay, so that's a good question there. The fact that they got fired immediately as black police officers versus the guys, the cops who did what they did to George Floyd. Mm-hmm. It took forever for them to be fired, much less charged with anything.
And then there was a couple of instances where cops were just suspended with pay.
Yeah.
So you got a vacation for beating up a black dude.
And I think if you take those two scenarios and come away from it saying, oh, there's no such thing as white privilege, I think you might have a learning disability.
Yeah.
I mean, to be completely honest.
And there's no difference in between whether if it's a black cop beating a black kid or if it's a white kid, a white cop beating a black kid. There's no difference. Bottom line, it shouldn't have to do it. It's police brutality. Police brutality. Mm-hmm. We did not say it was white brutality. Yeah. It wasn't black brutality. If you have a police uniform on and you're doing some of the dumbest shit in the world,
it's police brutality
to innocent people, it is police brutality.
Yeah.
Period. If the whole thing that happened with those black guys with that black kid, police brutality.
Yeah.
The Rodney King situation, police brutality. I know that's old for these people, these young people that don't know.
Do some research.
Rodney King got beat by these cops, and he got hit they beat him with police, like the batons and stuff. They hit him 52 times. 52. He didn't fight. He didn't do anything. Nothing.
Why the hell do you have to hit somebody 52 times with a baton?
Do you know why they hit him 52 times? It was a serious crime back in the day. He committed a serious crime back then. That's why they hit him 52 times.
What was it?
He was black. That's it.
Doing anything while black.
Yeah, period. Period. He was black.
Yeah.
Period.
So I just looked up because I wanted to see how much psychological testing somebody had to go through before getting a badge. And apparently they do go through a psychological exam. But that puts into question, because it says is to determine the ability to manage the unique stresses that a police officer faces in their career. Like, I think they should be looking more into, other issues that could occur.
Yeah.
Whether they're racist or bigots.
Is that state specific or what you just looked up?
It does not say.
Now, I'm gonna keep it real too now. Like, some of the nicest cops I ever met were white. They're cool people. There are some people that do their job. There's some people that, give you little slaps on the wrist here and there. They understand what a situation may be or whatever. And sometimes they're not, what they call like banging the pavement, so to speak. Like basically like doing their job to like this hardcore
they have an ego trip.
Right. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know what the badge does. I have no clue what the badge does to people. It just gives you this superiority that you do it. But what does it have to do with race?
Absolutely nothing.
And they make it about that.
But the issue is what kind of person is putting on the badge. Give a good person power. Hopefully they do good things. Give a bad person power, they're going to do bad things. Now, do I believe that power is corrupting? Absolutely.
Right.
You give somebody too much, they're going to abuse it.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy to me. And you see it every day. And there's people out there that get mad at the whole fact that, people saying Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. There's people, he's not a friend no more, but he toyed with it. He had messages like to me about George Floyd and jokes and stuff like that. It's not a joke to me. And then people don't understand why people say Black Lives Matter. If this happened to white people or any race on a regular basis to the point that we have to learn how to live. That's crazy. We have to learn. it's already dangerous by itself, but it's extra dangerous for us just to get in our car and drive down the street.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So beyond just police, though, white privilege, because my viewpoint of as I stated, my viewpoint of white privilege has changed. And like I said, at the beginning, it was, I think, again, for most white people, it appears on the surface to be a statement, a blanket statement that all white people live privileged lives. But as time progressed and I became more educated and I started looking into it myself, and then what really did it for us, my wife and I, was when we adopted our mixed child. And all of a sudden, we became very aware that we were going to have to prepare him for different scenarios, things that we never even thought about talking to our white kids about.
Yeah.
We've had to, he's 6 years old. We've already had to have a conversation with him about people who use the N-word. We've already had a conversation with him dealing with the fact that some people weren't going to like him just because of his skin color.
Yeah.
And the look on his face was insane. White kids don't get that conversation.
No, because they don't have to.
Yeah.
Somebody had called him that, and he wanted to know why and what it meant.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were kind of taken back.
We were dumbfounded, and that's why I called you, and that's how the podcast started.
Yeah. But to dive on that real quick, and I'll jump off of that. It's ignorance. It's people that don't know better, and people that use that now that know it, they use it on a plan to hurt. Now, I'll be 37 soon, so I've had my share of racism. I've had my share of people using the N-word to me. Not gonna lie to you, I've had some close friends, white people, that had used the N-word to me. Used the N-word, directed to me. But I'm smart. This particular person was around a bunch of black people. They know him. He was in his neighborhood. That was where he's from. That goes back to what I said. Now, is it right for them to say it? No, because it goes on both ends. It goes on both ends. Aware of how you see it. Because you're going to see it anyway. People might have their own little group. They're going to say it. And they'll accept it. But there's a way it comes off that you just know. Everybody knows that. And that's what we were talking about, the whole hard, ER at the end of the word and stuff like that, right? I think somebody said, well, how can we say that to each other? And we put an A at the end instead of the ER. What's the difference? It's a big difference. We try to take everything that's negative towards us, and we try to basically tell you that it don't hurt us.
At the end of the day, that word was used as a weapon against your community. So how you use it is none of nobody's business. Just like I think y'all talked about before about can people who are disabled use the other R word?
Right.
Well, I'm not in that community.
Yeah, but we flip it. We just flip it to let you know that it doesn't hurt us. So if you hear us saying that to other people, we're basically saying like, go ahead. Right. We're using it more than you. So, like, I say it a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. I say it to my brothers. I say it to my, you know what I'm saying? I say it to my friends and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I said it to him a couple times. I ain't going to say it a lot. He know that.
Because I am.
But he know where it come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't bother me. But you got this whole generational side, too, that it really bothers people. Like, the older people, they don't like it because it came from somewhere. And they had to witness it. See, thank God that we didn't have to witness none of that. Slavery and, the whole white only this and the black people had to use the bathroom way in the back of the woods and stuff.
This water fountain, that water fountain.
Exactly.
Back of the bus, yeah.
Exactly. So the new generation kind of just took that word and flipped it to basically let you know it doesn't hurt us. We're going to flip anything negative that you throw at us, we're going to flip it and let you know that it doesn't bother us. It doesn't bother us at all. But that's still respect to the older class because they had to endure that. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to flip that and enjoy it.
Now, saying that it doesn't bother you, coming from another black person. Mm-hmm. How does it feel coming from a white person?
Exactly how you would think it would feel.
I have no idea. I'm not a black person. That's the reason we're doing this, because I have no idea.
If it comes from a white person to me nowadays, I know 9 times out of 10, well, probably 10 times out of 10, it's to piss me off. Mm-hmm. And then nowadays, and nowadays people don't know what it means. They just say it and they know that it hurts black people. They're not educated to know what it means.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna throw my family under the bus a little bit. But do you remember back when we were in high school? Mm-hmm. It was one of the most mortifying moments of my entire life. But you came over to my house one day, and I was looking something up on the computer. You were in the kitchen, I was in the den looking something up on the computer. You could see me. Mm-hmm. My youngest brother is 8 years younger than I am.
Okay,
and he was always kind of a prick when he was younger, always trying to pick on me and get me in trouble and stuff. So he comes yelling around the corner saying, and I didn't, but he's going, "Oh my God, Zach just called Tenaria." And he said it. Do you remember that?
Vaguely. I kind of do. I wouldn't know word for word. You kind of got that.
All it was he came around the corner. He said it twice. "Oh my God, Zach just called Tenaria."
Oh, okay. I do remember that. Actually, I do remember that. Yeah.
Looking back on that, how did that? What did you think of me and my family after that?
Well,
being frank, we're being
totally honest,
being real. Yeah,
totally honest. All blinds up. I honestly felt like you were the only person that saw me past a black person. Like you were the only person that was willing to know Tenaria
in that house.
In the house.
Wow.
I felt like you were the only one that was like, okay, this is Tenaria. This is a kid, but everybody else is like, what the hell is this black dude doing in my house?
Wow. I'm honored that you thought that of me. Because that scared me to death. And I think I probably would have had the same takeaway from it. Now, talking about how a person sees another person for the first time, and talking about white privilege in a sales background, when I'm sitting in my store and I see someone pull up and get out of their car. I'm not supposed to, but I always do. All of us do.
Everybody does.
We make a judgment on that person.
Yeah, of course.
Now, again, I'm in sales. My job is to sell a product, and I make commission on that product. So the more a person spends, the more money I'm going to make.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So if a person gets out looking like they're from, for lack of better words, the hood,
right. Mm-hmm.
Drove up in some kind of beater-looking car, I'm going to figure, all right, if they can afford to buy anything at all, I'm not going to make anything on this.
Right.
Because you already it's not going to be worth my time to make the little bit of commission that I'm going to make.
Right.
Dealing with these people.
Right.
And it depends on obviously what they look like. Now, a black person gets out of the car looking like they're from the hood, I'm making that judgment call. I'm making that judgment. Right. But at the same time, if a white person gets out of the car wearing the same clothes and out of the same car, looking the same way,
right,
I'm making the same call about those people too.
Right.
And
that's
I'll
difficult.
be honest with you, white people scare me more than black people ever will.
But
have you been around Goldsboro?
Here's the thing, but you know what it is? Here's the thing. White people definitely do, and only because you never really know what a white person is on. At the very most, look, just being straight up. If a black person comes in, they're probably gonna looking like that. I'm not gonna say they're probably weird just because they're black. I'm saying if they get out the car, they look a certain way, they're probably gonna smell like at the most
weed.
Right?
But you know what though? We'll tell you what it is.
You know what you can't smell though? You can't smell cocaine.
No, you can't.
You can't smell angel dust, bruh.
Because I'm rich off cocaine.
Because And you can't smell meth. You can but you can't smell it on a person.
But one thing I can say about
us, those are the drugs white people are coming in and doing.
The one thing I can tell you about us, we'll tell you, in any situation, cop pull you over, you been drinking? Hell yeah.
Bro, I'm high as fuck.
We'll tell you. Like, we don't care. Like, think about it. Weed stink.
Yeah.
You just can't cologne that shit.
Well, the good weed does.
Exactly. You just can't cologne that shit. So you already know when you hop out of the car in a contained environment, you're going to smell exactly like you smoke. They don't care. We going in there and doing the same thing we've been doing. Period.
Yeah.
I'm dead ass. Like, we don't hide that. We going in there. We smoked. We in there.
Okay. So, but knowing all that, knowing that everybody is going to make some kind of judgment based on your appearance, does that affect the way you carry yourself in different situations?
If you know, yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, as a tall, white, cisgender male, I don't worry about anywhere I go at any time.
Oh, I don't either. I don't worry about it.
Well, not necessarily worry about it, but I know I'm going to be treated at least with a certain level of respect, regardless of where it is. Because of the way I carry myself, people assume, oh, this guy's got good credit. He can buy anything he wants.
Oh, no.
Nope.
Not with us.
That's a lie.
Mm-mm. No, I already and see, I don't lie to people. People ask about my credit. My credit died in about
circa 2006.
About 06. Yeah. We bought tuxedos and everything. Went to the funeral. That shit was gone. So
6-person casket.
Hell yeah.
Put it down.
Hell yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, that's an unmarked grave.
I don't play games. I just let you know. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. But yeah, but certain situations, absolutely. Like, that goes back to what I said. Black people, we have to have that talk of how to conduct ourselves, because unfortunately, the world is not, we don't have the same rules as everybody else. Right. We just don't. We don't get policed the same way. We don't get looked at the same way. We don't do anything like if you go in a restaurant and let's say your caliber, like you go in a restaurant and let's say somebody that's thugged out, like you know he's probably a drug dealer, right? Right. But he looks clean. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's a drug dealer, but he looks clean. He goes into the exact same upscale restaurant that you go in, right? What's the difference? There's not one.
No, there's not.
Maybe the smell.
There shouldn't be.
Maybe the smell. You know what I'm saying? Right. Maybe he was a little loud before he got
right.
You know what I'm saying? But your money just as green as his.
Yeah, of course.
And he's not going in there and just going to be just because he's from the hood. Man, bro, some of the nicest people you ever going to meet are black. Yeah, some of the most genuine people that you meet are black.
The biggest, the hardest people that I find to get along with, middle-aged white women.
Oh boy!
Tell me I'm wrong. There's a reason they're called Karens.
Like a fourth gender or something, because I don't like women are like I can't.
That actually brings me to a good topic. So these people were going to be our hero of the week, something like that. Here's the thing. So I'm just going to tell you about it. A couple. And it's a man and woman. Don't ask me which one's which because I don't know. But Courtney and Nicole Mallory, okay, out of Colorado. They have a 640-acre ranch.
Last name says it.
Wait, what?
You ain't never heard Mickey and Mallory?
No.
Natural Born Killers?
No.
Keep going. Go ahead.
Okay. Skirt.
That's a good movie, by the way.
Derailed the whole thing.
No, Go ahead. Because you said Mallory, but anyway, go ahead.
So
they crazy, but go ahead.
These cats have a 640-acre ranch and are in this big legal dispute with their neighbors, a lady named Teresa Clark and her husband. Now, there have been 170 calls, 50 of them made by Teresa Clark. They have a ranch directly beside the Mallorys. It all started when the Clark's cattle was found grazing on the Mallory's land. Okay. Well, now they're in the process of trying to get a bill passed or trying to get a law passed called a Karen Act. Now, with a C.
C.
Now, the Karen Act, what it stands for is Caution Against Racially Exploitative Non-Emergencies. Now, there are similar laws in Oregon, New York, and New Jersey, and we 100% back the passing of this law. But the reason Courtney and Nicole Mallory are not our people of the week anymore is because after doing some research, it looks like there's been some assholery on both sides.
They crazy.
So unfortunately, so they're accusing the El Paso County Sheriff's Office of being racist as well. But the thing is, there's been body cam footage released of Nicole Mallory biting and kicking at police officers, which they're black.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever bite and kick at a police officer if you're being arrested as a black man?
Nope.
No. What would happen?
You already know. If I look at a police officer the wrong way, I'm getting arrested.
Yeah, exactly.
First off,
I want the gunshots, but yeah, arrested. Hey.
Yeah.
First one, then yeah. Anyway. So
But go ahead, my bad.
So they're not our people of the week anymore.
Not at all.
Like I said, some asshole. Dude, she was being served, right? Okay. She shot at the person who was serving at what are they called?
It was a process server, and he was
a process server.
In the video, you can hear the faint sounds of a gunshot. She swears she did not shoot.
Yeah.
The process server says yes, he was shot at.
And the lady shot at the process server.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that is some black shit.
He said it does not surprise me.
That is some black shit. I've seen some people pull their gun out for the mail lady. Like people just coming to their yard. It's real out here. It's real.
Fuck a dog. We pulling out the heavy artillery.
I don't want no damn mail.
Look, so the whole reason for this podcast is to call out racial shit, right?
Yeah.
So my lovely wife and our producer found this crazy shit that happened to Tyrese motherfucking Gibson.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear about this?
Oh, milk chocolate. No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. Why don't you tell us about it, babe?
Break it down.
So I'm going to give you some facts. So he basically went to Home Depot with his staff and with his contractor.
Oh.
He was purchasing items for his home renovation. At checkout, he handed his credit card to his contractor in front of several employees, then grabbed a few candy bars, told the cashier, let her scan them, and said, I've got to go. They're taking care of it. They have my card. And they had saw him give the card.
Told the cashier to her face.
Home Depot refused to allow staff to use his card. They said Tyrese had to be present. Staff then pulled him up on a video chat, and they still made him come in. What I liked, though, was the after video when he comes in, he gives her his card to pay for these items.
I know what you're talking about.
And then he schooled her in the most respectful, nice way. But boy, I'd have hated to have been her. But what are your thoughts on it?
I remember exactly what you're talking about because he was saying that he'd been coming there for years.
Like 10 years.
Yeah, he'd been coming there for years and he's been doing the same thing because his problem was how come they got to check his credit card now because he's been giving it to the same people.
No, he said he'd been going there for about 10 years but hadn't been in that store in 6 years because he normally sends his contractor by himself. And so for 6 years, it wasn't a problem and the store knew. And then
now all of a sudden it's a problem.
By the way, it is our goal here at the Painted Black Podcast to have our own contractor on the payroll. So you hit up that Cash App and we'll talk about the Patreon later.
For sure.
For real.
For sure. Yes, sir. And we ain't picky, but
you want it like that.
Yeah.
You have a contractor.
Yes, sir.
Do you think it was more about race or do you think it was more about being a Karen? Because sometimes people think Karen goes hand in hand with race, and it don't. Sometimes being a Karen is just
that particular situation.
Yeah.
Both.
I think it was a little of both too.
That particular, it was both because she was trying to be powerful and all that stuff like that. And, you know, it was both. It was both. It was, if it happened all the time, all of a sudden now, yeah, that's a little bit of both.
I know the comments were, but people normally ask for an ID when you're using a credit card. Okay, but normally at places like Home Depot and Lowe's, people send contractors in all the time with their own personal cards to pay for the items.
Yeah,
right.
Like, it's not unheard of. And they've been doing it for, his contractor's apparently been coming there for 6 years using his card on his own. And now just all of a sudden some young girl made a big deal over it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And she was ugly.
Yeah, she was not cute at all. I'm sorry, y'all. Whoever's watching, she was not cute.
She was bad.
Was she short too?
It don't matter. Her face was man. You can't be ugly with authority.
Karen's in the wild.
You can't be ugly with authority.
You know who I've never met that had a good attitude?
Who?
A state trooper.
Oh God. I think that's ingrained in them in their training.
Dude, I don't know what something happens between just being a cop or whatever you were before becoming a state trooper that just turns you into a straight up asshole.
Yeah, but
every
they don't
last
care.
one I've ever met.
It's the hat.
if I had to wear that hat,
that bucket hat,
I'd be pissed off too.
It's that hat, boy. I'm telling you, you can't even see their attitude. That shit blocked the sun and everything. It's that hat.
I do have one last question about this whole black or white privilege thing.
It's a done.
So, when it comes to things like, I'm gonna get real nerdy with you for a second.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Oh.
So, with Star Wars,
okay,
there is the light and the dark.
Yes, Lord.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And light is synonymous, not just in Star Wars, but white is synonymous with good,
and
where dark is synonymous with evil.
Exactly.
Do you think trying to not flip that narrative, but change that way of thinking would? How much of an impact do you think that has on the white privilege experience and the racial experience that you have?
Everything.
Really?
Everything. I heard this in a song one time, right? They said light don't mean you're bright and dark don't mean you're stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything is set up a certain way to make it look the way it looks. And unfortunately, that's how it's going to be, because people talk change and stuff like that. People are enforcing the same negative vibes more than people are willing to change it. Because for one think about it. Look at all the people that was trying to change everything. Gone. You know what I'm saying? It's like nobody wants the world to change. So.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So the status quo is what makes money.
Of course.
It's like with the drug industry, you hear all the time that healthy people, healing people isn't going to make you money. You keep sick people alive. You don't fix their problems. You just keep them alive, so they keep having to spend the money on whatever medicines and medications they need.
Right.
So anyway, our hotline number is 919-330-0921. If you have stories about an experience that you have with white privilege, if you have a different take on it than we do, we'd love to hear all these things. That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
We're here to learn and grow together as one big happy black and white and brown and red and yellow family. Mm-hmm. So our new people of the week, by the way, hit the hotline too with a suggestion for, we don't know what to call this segment.
Name this segment, yes. Name this, please.
Hero of the week, person of the week, we don't know what to call it. Anyway.
My guy of the week.
I have one. Now, so
before you read it out,
ahead.
They didn't shoot nobody or nothing like that in the past.
Nobody shot. No bad things committed.
Because I don't want you to do me like, this is my person of the week. I'm like, man, he just shot about 12 kids. Like, no, you won't need that.
Now they have a whole lot of life ahead of them, so they may fuck up something real bad later on, but right now, everything's good.
They're good. Okay.
And we will. How do you feel about the term renege?
Renege?
Mm-hmm.
Renege is what it is. It's renege. That's not a racial
I
term.
know.
That's renege, yeah. Now, we say it.
But, I mean, a dyslexic person sees that and
we will flip that. It's over. Yeah.
I feel like it's dangerous.
We'll flip renege like it's nobody's business. I'm just like, no. But
anyway.
Got you, though. Go ahead.
If something happens with these two later on, we will renege the sponsorship of them. But
we will let it go.
Look, I'm going to apologize to these two girls. Here. I'll tell you what, Bo. Check that out. Say their names. Calcia and Nakia. Okay. Calcia and Nakia.
That was black vocabulary for people out there.
Look,
he was going to butcher that one.
He
was about to say calcium.
I was about to say calcium
and Nick
and NyQuil.
Yeah, he was about to throw down.
Calcium Johnson and NyQuil Jackson.
No worse than Flownasia. It is not worse than Flownasia.
Anyway, so
Flownaise.
So Calcia Johnson and Nakia Jackson of St. Mary's Academy, they figured out a way to solve the Pythagorean theorem. Now, here's the thing: were you a math person in high school?
My man, I was actually.
You were a math person
until I went to a certain teacher class. I didn't like her, but yeah, I was pretty decent in math. Yes.
Okay. What do you mean? What happened?
The teacher. Remember, we had a racist teacher.
Which one?
Am I allowed to say?
Let's use last names.
Edmondson.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The one I told you that was tutoring us for like us's black people.
That
like 20 minutes.
That was our lost episode that you said that on.
Okay. Well, the teacher, Edmondson, she was tutoring people, but the black ones, we was getting tutored for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And the white ones that sat up in the front all nice with the bow and they got tutored for an hour and 30 minutes to make sure they understood everything. Yeah.
And you got 20 minutes.
And we got 20 minutes.
Holy shit.
Tops. Sometimes it was less than that.
Who else was in your class of tutor?
Me and like a couple other guys.
All black?
All black.
And you only got 20. That's bullshit. All right. So Mr. Math Whiz, what is the Pythagorean theorem?
Oh, you want me to do that now?
Hit me with it.
Oh, I'm old as hell. You better go ahead and read the definition, player. I ain't got you. Go ahead.
Does A squared plus B squared equals C squared sound familiar?
I don't know.
I hate that letter math.
You said A squared, B squared, C squared. I'm going to say triangle.
That letter math don't do nothing for me.
You're dead on. Right
triangle. I'm the man.
Look at that. What?
What?
But look, all right.
Black people can do it.
So Calcia and Nakia, did you say Nakia?
It's Calcia or Calcea.
Calcea.
Either one.
Okay.
Because, we got them.
Yeah.
We got them now.
Yeah.
And Nakia or Nakaya, either one.
Miss Johnson and Miss Jackson.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why my son is named Kendrick.
Anyway, they go to St. Mary's Academy, and they figured out a way to solve the Pythagorean theorem.
Okay. They black.
Look, I didn't. I had to flunk out of college because of math. Okay, I'm gonna read this to you. Okay,
producer like hell. Yeah, he did.
I'm gonna read a quote to you from Calcia. It's really an unparalleled feeling, honestly, because there's just nothing like being able to do. Oh wait, that's not the right quote. Hang on. Start over.
That wasn't her. That wasn't her.
Okay, so all right. So the Pythagorean theorem is it's 2,000 years old, and no one's been able to figure it out. Okay. Now let me see if I can find this thing that describes it. All right. So most high school students learn about the famous theorem, which asserts that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Essentially, the age-old rule claims that the sum of the square of a right triangle's two shorter sides equals the sum of a square of the hypotenuse. That for all I know, there's probably a demon waiting for me underneath this table right now, because as far as I know, that was heretical. I have no idea what the hell I just said.
That was deep, bro.
How old are the girls?
I can read, boy.
I'm telling you, that sounded educational coming from you too, player.
They're high school students.
That's impressive.
They're high school students figured out this 2,000-year-old problem that nobody else, that no mathematician has been able to figure out. They are my people of the week for that reason, because they're smart as fuck.
Exactly. We smart. See that? We ain't all from the hood like that.
And if you didn't know by their names, they are black.
See, boom. See what I'm saying? See what we do? Do you see what we do? Exactly. I know there ain't no white person named Calcium around here. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
I know that.
You don't know that.
If it's calcium, if it's calcium, you got a brother named Potassium and all the other stuff like that.
Iron,
exactly. Flonase. Yeah, Flonase.
Oh man. All right. So, any other thoughts on what are we talking about?
We was talking about that thing, brother.
We were talking about letter math, and it really makes my anxiety bad. So we're gonna have to. Letter math is scary. I can't do letter math.
That made my eyes cross.
I want to touch on the whole police thing I was talking about before, real quick though. Honestly, it don't really matter what color you are. We just need some fair police people out there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's crazy out there now.
What are your thoughts on defunding?
What am I? No, I mean we still need policing.
Well,
so it don't take away the police.
Yeah.
No, we still need it. No. See, that's the problem. Once again, people think they know what's best. Right. All you need is the right people to do the job. It's like any other job. The only problem is it's more power with this job.
So
that's all it is.
Defunding, though, doesn't take them away.
Yeah.
People don't realize that the cops alone, and I'll look it back up and I'll have it for the next episode, but they're heavily funded, and that money does not go to the cops that are working, and a lot of the funds just go missing. Like when they say defund, what they really mean is put more structure in, more limits to them, more psychological testing, more checks and balances, taking away some of that big budget, because they're not giving it to the cops anyways. That could be going to our schools.
When they say defund the police, what they're talking about is defunding their armament. So because that's primarily what it goes toward, arming the police, right? So when they say
and all the other stuff,
exactly.
Like
so when they say defund the police, what they mean is restructure their budget so that more of their money goes toward education for the police on how to handle certain situations. I can't tell you the anxiety that my wife and our producer had over here thinking about the potential for our autistic son, our oldest autistic son, to get into a situation where he would have a meltdown with cops who don't have the training to handle him.
Yeah, and me and my wife go through the same thing. We have a 13-year-old autistic son too.
Yeah,
so absolutely,
it's a terrifying thing. One, we have a mixed son who we have to have these conversations with, and two, we have an autistic son who we have to have similar conversations with, just so he don't get himself shot for. And I say this with quotation marks, resisting. If he should get in some kind of trouble.
There are so many other countries where the cops don't even have a nightstick. They don't have a gun.
Well, they have.
They don't. There's a few that don't have anything.
Okay.
They just. They have their handcuffs on them, but they do not use. They do not use any sort of weapons. I think they have some pepper spray on them, but that's about the extent of it. But their crime is like way lower than ours.
But it's more of a when in Rome type situation to me, because there's people now, like even black people. There's black people won't even go in the hood without a gun. So you just ain't about to send a police officer in there with no gun. And it's not about defunding them or the armory or nothing like that. They should be well educated on what the hell to do anyway before they get a badge.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about.
To arms instead of that
they need education. They need to have some kind of education or maybe a test or some
some kind of better training
before you get a badge. Unfortunately, everybody know the term. You got to fake it to make it. There's some people that'll go through everything. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. Just to get a badge, and then when they get a badge, they become crazy. Mm-hmm. So either way, It's going to happen. I hate to say it. It's going to happen. There is going to be somebody crooked. There's going to still be police brutality, no matter how many tests you get.
Yeah.
No matter how many you could defund them. What is that going to do? What is that really going to do? Even if you take away, dude.
Well,
like I said before,
that's what we're saying. So it's a bad term. Just like that transgender versus transsexual thing I was talking about earlier. It's a bad term. It shouldn't be called defunding. Instead of funding this, we're funding something else. We're funding an education of those police officers on how to handle different situations. Just honestly, probably critical race theory would probably be something good to educate officers on. It'd be a good idea to educate officers on how to treat specific mental illnesses, stuff like that, and how to identify symptoms before you just go barging in to someone's house. You find out, oh, this person is schizophrenic. We might have to take a different approach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now on a mental health call, a lot of people don't realize, and I've seen several videos of this, and I'll give you an example in a minute, but say I call because Levi's having a meltdown that I cannot control. It's just the cops that come out. They don't bring any type of mental health professional with them. Right. I've seen video after video where they've come to these mental health episodes, whether it be autism, whether it be whatever the case, whatever the mental issue going on. And there was one in particular where this very tall teenage boy didn't have any clothes on, and they drug him out of his house, took him in the middle of the road, and there was probably 12 cops, and they took turns beating him because he wouldn't calm down. Well, he had a mental health issue, and that's one thing. And defunding is a horrible word because it's not that at all. Because we do need cops, but we need good cops.
Yeah, we just need the right people.
They need to be restructured to where they say they can't afford for a mental health professional to go out with them to these calls. Well, maybe if the funds were moved around a little bit, they'd be able on a mental health call to call up somebody and say, "Hey, we've got this call. We need a professional with us to help us deal with this."
And that's another way that the defund term works is you're taking funds from this. You're taking funds from the police and putting them toward more specialized response units that respond to different situations.
Right.
I think it would be great if everywhere could be served with a proper fire department instead of relying on volunteers. I mean, that's to me, if you give some incentive, because think about how long the response time is for a volunteer fire department right now. First of all, the alarm has to be sounded. Secondly, the people have to drive to the fire station, grab the truck, and head out. Right?
Right.
I don't know. We have a volunteer fireman here that can probably tell you how that process works.
And you know who he is.
You sure do.
You know who he is.
You sure do.
Bless him.
And look, he's been almost about to fall asleep the whole episode. I mentioned fire truck, and
he's up
jumps
dancing.
up.
You know who
he jumps up.
The one and only.
Okay, Steve, how does it work when you get a call? What is your response time?
Hang on. Let's get him a mic. You want to share your mic with him?
And let's introduce him the right way. Introduce him, my man. Brothers,
ladies and gentlemen,
Steve.
Word.
So talk to us a minute about and quit handling that mic. Leave it alone. Just talk in it.
He handled like it was his.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
There you go, my man.
I've been a fireman for
he don't have much experience handling anything that
years.
size.
Yeah, I'm used to bigger.
Okay.
Wow. Yes, so yeah, we take it there on this podcast. We go there.
So I've been a fireman for about 19 years. When I first got in it, the average from the time, if everything goes perfect, from we'll just say a regular routine structure fire, from the time it lights off to the time somebody notices it, to the time they get it dispatched, and somebody just gets en route to the station, you're looking 5 to 10 minutes.
Just for someone to get to the station.
Just to get it dispatched. And that's in a perfect world.
Where nothing goes wrong. It just boom.
Where nothing goes wrong.
Whereas
if somebody's on scene can see the fire, call it in, by the time it gets turned, they get the information, it gets turned around, and they dispatch the proper department. They come out. You got 5 to 10 minutes that fire is burning.
Right.
That's too long.
It is.
That's crazy.
Do you realize how much fire can spread depending on the contents?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
That's the difference between having a smoke in structure or a full-blown working structure fire.
And so you take some of that money, some of the gobs and gobs of money that the government spends on, that local and state government spends on their police department, and apply that to a fire department. At least someone who can respond to a fire in rural areas. Because obviously you have to be, I think we talked about this an episode ago or 2 episodes ago, where metropolitan areas have a paid fire department.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of counties, and even in North Carolina, there's a couple departments in Craven County.
Yeah.
And it's becoming more popular. It wasn't popular when I first got into service, but now they got, since you have in your rural areas, you have your volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing what's called a paid volunteer.
Okay.
For it's like a regular 12-hour shift.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have 4 to 5 people that are paid at a volunteer station to run calls to cut down on the response time.
I have a question. What is the difference in response time? And if you don't know, just say you don't know, between Goldsboro's paid fire, like they're the fire department and the volunteer fire department.
As far as
In a perfect world.
In a perfect world, when you're dealing with a paid department, they work usually 24-hour shifts. They're right there. They can get on the trucks and get out.
Yeah.
They can get out within minutes.
Yeah.
Minutes. Even if they're in bed asleep, the tones drop.
Because they're already there.
They're there at the station.
Yeah.
So your trucks are getting out quicker. You're getting to the scene faster. You'll be able to get the scene under control quicker.
At the most, you're probably talking maybe 3 minutes from the time the alarm sounds to the time they're in the truck on the way.
They should be on the way in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
At a paid department. Hence the idea behind doing a paid volunteer,
Right.
having certain people on the volunteer departments, so it cuts down on that multiple dispatching, waiting for somebody to get to the station in your rural areas for your volunteer fire departments.
Gotcha. That's good. I like it.
Yeah.
So again, look, 919-330-0921. If you have a difference of opinion, if you have any kind of comments or stories or whatever about anything we've talked about tonight, hit us up. We want to hear what you have to say. 919-330-0921. That's our hotline, and paintedblackpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, brother.
Also,
don't we got some merch, brother?
I'm getting to it.
I just want to let you know, you feel me? Because
I'm
we can't
getting
forget
to
about the
it.
merch, baby.
We got merch.
We got merch, baby.
Thank you, Brother Steve.
Brother Steve
the
is
insight.
the man. Yes, sir. I told you he's going to be a fan favorite. That's my man. I'm telling you.
Word.
Talk. You got to let him know.
Word.
Yes, you got to.
Give
you
us
have
one.
to. One more time. Hit it.
Word.
Yes, people, he is always like this.
I really hope
He original. That's the beauty.
I really
of it.
hope that comes through the audio, because I don't know if it's the visual of this dude saying word. But I hope you guys find it as amusing as we do.
Yeah.
What you got for us?
Let's get this. What's this merch we talking
Check
about?
out bonfires.com. Look up Painted Black Podcast. All the words spelled out, no abbreviations. And we got t-shirts, we got hoodies. Check us out and give us some love.
Yeah, I'm a hoodie man. Y'all rock them hoodies now. Come on now.
Also, speaking of giving us money, I am working on our Patreon page, but I need to know what you guys want from us. What extra stuff would you like for subscribing to our page? What kind of stuff do you want? I don't care what it is.
Yawn?
No, there was a motorcycle outside.
Oh, I thought you just yawned. I was like, unprofessional.
Look, if you want pictures of the 7 toes of Teneri, we'll give them to you.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we will.
My right foot look like a gun.
We will.
If somebody offered you $1,000 for a picture of them toes, you would not do it.
I would put makeup on them bitches. What are you talking about?
That's all.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Would you sell your nasty drawers to a woman who wanted them?
No.
There's a whole market
Why?
for that
But
online.
my wife
Don't
is right
play.
there. My wife is right there.
Okay, and then I have a question.
There's just
There's
some draws.
actual websites for that. If he could mail off his old drawers. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
No, well, she gave me to say so.
Thank
You feel me?
you.
So boom, I'm
You know
on
what I
it.
mean? They're not seeing him. They just getting his nasty drawers. Yeah.
No, but see, different situations calls for it. You got to know what boundaries you can't step out
Right.
of. So that's why I got to make sure the wife is cool with that. You did.
There's real websites like that though.
20.
You know what I mean?
Look, listen to me. $20 a month subscription on Patreon.com gets you 1 pair each.
If you want
Of our
some dirty
draws.
draws and y'all willing to pay for it,
We will send
get
you.
at me. That's all I'm just letting you know. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Forget all the rest of that that jazz. You feel me? If y'all want some dirty draws, I got you. And then boom.
We'll hit you with that flavor, boy.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as I see $1 in the Cash App, we're gonna start shipping them things.
Shoot.
Okay? So if y'all nasty, get at me. Okay?
Socks, undershirts.
Because we all hey look, this Painted Black, we get what you want.
I fart in a jar.
You know what I'm saying? And if you
Try me.
Yeah.
Try me.
and if you dare opening that jar, you want your own player. I'm just letting you know. We gets it in over here. If anybody want a picture of my foot, knock yourself out. I got you.
Oh man.
I give you a mold. It look like one of them phone fingers like that. You know what I mean? Let's
Thank
get it.
you.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you guys so much for listening and watching if you're on YouTube or live or whatever. And always remember, keep it
Fantastilistic,
baby.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yeah.